Hello, everybody. This is Gary. Today is Monday, May 25th, 2020. It's Memorial Day in the United States to remember the American servicemen who have died and servicewomen who have died in defending America. And this is my coping with schizophrenia video for today. Before I say anything else on this Memorial Day, I'd like to put out my remembering my father, who was a veteran of World War II. He died in 2005. And I would like to say I remember and respect all servicemen who have died and servicewomen who have died in defending the United States and serving their country, as well as those who are serving right now who are alive. Having said that, I have made a video in a couple of days. Yesterday, the day before yesterday actually, I went to the psychiatric emergency room. It just so happened that my psychiatrist was there, which isn't usually the case, but my psychiatrist was there as one of the psychiatrists that evaluate patients in the psychiatric emergency department at the University of Rochester Strong Memorial Hospital in Rochester, New York. By the way, it's 11:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States in Rochester, New York. But anyways, I went to the psychiatric emergency room because I was feeling kind of panicky, paranoid, hallucinating, delusional. Um, I called for an ambulance. The police arrived as they usually do first. They checked my pockets to make sure I didn't have any weapons or any sharp objects that could hurt somebody. Um, they didn't place me under arrest or anything like that because I'm the one who had called them, so my going to the hospital was voluntary. But you have to deal with the police in New York State when you go to a psychiatric emergency room. If you call an ambulance or somebody else calls an ambulance for a psychiatric problem, the police usually show up first. In my case, that doesn't really matter because I'm the one who called them and I went into the hospital voluntarily. That was my intention from the beginning, and it makes no sense to give the police a hard time. Some things you don't do, by the way, if you call the police or somebody else calls the police on you for psychiatric problems, don't approach the police with your hands in your pocket. Don't be belligerent. Keep your hands perfectly out of your pockets where they can be seen at all times. If the police want to check your pockets to see if you have any sharp objects or anything like that, then do that and let them do that. If they tell you to sit down, then you sit down. If they tell you to stand, then you stand. I mean, it's not that difficult to understand common sense when you're dealing with the police. Unfortunately, people who are mentally ill don't often know how to behave around the police. And that's exactly why the police are called, because sometimes people have to be forced to go to the hospital in handcuffs if necessary. In New York State, that's called a mental hygiene arrest. It is not an arrest that results in criminal charges. It's an arrest that results in somebody going to the hospital for psychiatric evaluation, even if it's against their will. For example, if I was showing psychiatric problems and I was potentially dangerous to myself or somebody else, and somebody else called the ambulance and the police would have every right to restrain me in handcuffs if necessary and take me to the psychiatric hospital. Again, that's not a criminal arrest. It doesn't result in an arrest record. It doesn't result in criminal charges. That's not the point. The point of a mental hygiene arrest in New York State in the United States, is to get somebody evaluated to see if they're a danger to themselves or others, physically dangerous. Are they suicidal? Are they potentially violent? Are they already violent? Have they already made a suicide attempt? Um, those are the things that determine whether or not a person can be forced to go to a psychiatric hospital. Um, so I went to the psychiatric emergency room. The doctors evaluated me. I had made the problem even worse. When I was cleaning my apartment, I used concentrated bleach to clean the bathroom and the kitchen. And the fumes from that bleach, which I did not dilute with water, made me dizzy, confused, probably added to my psychiatric symptoms. And I mentioned that to the psychiatrist in the emergency room that I had done that. It was a stupid thing to do. Bleach can be extremely dangerous when it's concentrated and you breathe in the vapors. It can kill you. It can kill you if you mix bleach with other chemicals like ammonia, for example, that releases chlorine gas into the atmosphere and into the air, and you could die from inhaling that relatively quickly. So it was a stupid thing that I did. I was having psychiatric symptoms. I made those symptoms worse by using bleach to clean my apartment and ended up not with just psychiatric symptoms, but physical symptoms. My lungs and chest were hurting. It was like somebody was sitting on my chest, and I was vomiting from the chlorine poisoning, because that's exactly what it was. It was chlorine poisoning. So I went to the psychiatric emergency room. I told my psychiatrist what happened. Um, and after they let me stay there for a few hours, and I left the windows in my apartment open to air out any remaining chlorine bleach that was still in the air, or the smell of the bleach. So I went to the psychiatric emergency room, was vomiting there. They gave me Zofran, which is for nausea and vomiting. And eventually they sent me home. They noticed that I had a tremor in my right hand. That may have been caused by anxiety or paranoia, or it may have been the chlorine poisoning my body, and I was kind of like shaking back and forth. But it was a stupid thing to do, and I shouldn't have done it. I made the problem worse than it already was. So they determined at the hospital I wasn't violent, wasn't suicidal, at least not suicidal to the point that I would actually do something. And they certainly didn't see me being violent in any way. So that's why I haven't made a video in a while. I'm doing better today. It's a beautiful day outside in Rochester. I have the air conditioner in the window because it's beautiful, it's warm, it's sunny here in Rochester, New York. Summer is finally getting here. Memorial Day is the unofficial start of the summer season um, in the United States. For those of you who are outside the United States, Memorial Day is just a day to remember the fallen heroes of the U.S. military, both men and women, who have died in service to the country or who died, well, I guess from old age, and served their countries like my father did. Um, but that's all for now. Not much else to talk about. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Press the notification bell so you know when I put out new videos. Because even if you're subscribed, if you don't have the notification bell, you may not know when I put out a new video. If you want to help my channel, please share my videos on social network sites like Facebook and Twitter. I don't ask for money to make these videos because I don't really need it. It's not expensive for me to make a video like this on my computer. But share my videos on social media. Comment, like, share, subscribe. And if there's a video subject you want me to do, leave it in the comments section. It doesn't have to be about mental health.